Graphic design? Can you make a living at that?
Three, two, one, fun, 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 fun.
Welcome to Design Futures, a show about what happens after design school. I'm Chris St. Cyr, and my guest on this episode is Alex Terry. It is great to see you. It's been a long time.
It definitely has, Chris. Yeah, it's been almost too long, I would say.
Let's hear about Alex. Alex is Global Social Creative Innovation Lead for Motorola, where he develops cutting edge campaigns. For Super Bowl 59, he worked on the Rocket Mortgage campaign. Additionally, he's worked for Walgreens Health, 92 Shoes, and Sky Zone. As an entrepreneur, he launched Wisher, a grain-free vodka made from beets, and M&Me, a pet and party supply company. From 2010 to 2015, he was the chairman of the board for the International Quidditch Association. Yes, you heard that correctly. And he is a 2012 graduate from the Ringling College of Art and Design. Yeah, it has been way too long.
Yeah, I mean, just you rattling off all of the resume there makes me sound really old right
You,
now,
you
but
are
yeah,
old.
I know.
You're old, but
Uh,
I'm older. So
yeah.
we'll go with that. Yeah, you're 2012. So before that though, before you got to Ringling, so
Sure.
I know you're out in Chicago, out in the Midwest now. Are you from the Midwest or are you from Florida or somewhere else?
Yeah,
Where?
somewhere else.
Yeah.
I am from Texas originally.
Oh, okay. How'd you end up
And
in Florida at Ringling?
it's a good story. To back it all the way up. I originally in high school started getting really interested in computer animation, and I really enjoyed the teacher that was teaching there. And basically, he kept nudging me to, look at Ringling as a serious schooling opportunity. And of course, being young and naive, I just wanted to hang out with my friends and
Sure.
follow my sister to a big state school. So I originally went to Texas A&M
Okay.
looking at architecture, and then quickly realized there's a lot of math involved in that, and I needed to switch it up. I then remembered and recalled the conversation with that early high school teacher and looked up Ringling, and that was kind of the motivating shift for me of like, wow, like maybe I could do this. Went home during one of the summers, I guess, or maybe winter breaks, and just like crushed out a portfolio and made it happen. And
Yeah.
that's what ultimately led to me taking a look at Ringling, and at the time they were offering an advertising design program, and that
Mhm.
was really interesting to me. Seeing how my dad was always in business, my mom was from the arts, and it's kind of a perfect blend that made that a reality for me. And so I've signed up for the inaugural class and gave it a shot. It's a lot
Okay.
of fun.
So you were officially advertising design major or
Correct.
grad?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
okay.
was the proper
Yeah.
name of the major back then.
Yeah.
Shout out David Foote, one of the
Yep.
original teachers of that program. And yeah, it was a fun program. And I think now they've kind of folded that all into graphic design.
So yeah, we met at Ringling. What graphic design courses do you remember taking? Were there like
Definitely yours for sure. Yours
yeah, it
was
was like
super
graphic design
memorable.
one or two or something?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of foundational work together of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
really helping me comprehend like form and shape and line and all of that. And you had a
Yeah.
lot of really interesting ways to get get me to understand those concepts at an early age. And I definitely use a lot of that in my day-to-day life now, which I
Yeah.
can't really say for all of the trigonometry and stuff I took in high school or whatever, So
Somebody's using it in their job. Yeah.
somebody's out there making rocket ships, not this guy.
So one of my memories, I forgot about the whole Quidditch thing, but I don't know if it was you, but I do remember this moment where I was in a classroom and I was looking down out the window on like the parking lot and I saw students like just randomly running around. That wasn't the strangest part, but they had brooms in between their
Hmm.
legs and I was like, what the hell is going on down there? And I don't know if I asked you or somebody else, but it was communicated to me like this is Quidditch, like real life Quidditch,
Hmm.
and it is a thing. So can you talk about like did you start the club there at Ringling or what was your involvement with that and how did that like lead to like the international kind of Quidditch association?
Yeah, I mean, Good, good question, and yeah, fun to recall this moment. But yeah, basically, early on, I was friends with some folks that we were, having a good time, just like collaborating on a bunch of different things, and something kind of came up across my desk, and there was a gentleman out of Middlebury, Vermont. His name's Alex Benapi. He started making some waves about creating this Quidditch league, and me coming from Texas A&M, I saw how important, I guess, sports can be to a
Mhm.
college community and how it really rallies people and gets them connected and it gives them something to do. And so this looked like a good opportunity for a good intersection of sporting and creativity that could really be the magic to kind of getting people to be more connected in the school. And
Mhm.
so I saw it as an opportunity to bring it to my collaborative friends at the time and
Yeah.
basically say, hey, you guys want to give this a shot? And so thankfully, they decided to take me up on my whim and try it out. And so I tend to be known as like the person that brought it to Ringling. However, it was really a collection of friends that really made it a reality. And then every year after that, a lot of students would pick it up and want to join. And there was a lot of key underclassmen beneath me that also really were integral to like continuing it on and making it a
Mhm.
further success.
Yeah.
While I went on to form the International Association with Alex Benapi that I mentioned earlier, and then go and stand it up across the nation and even the world. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a joint effort. I can't take full credit, but it was quite a journey, and still very proud to be a part of that experience during my college years.
Yeah. So at Ringling, was there were there particular courses or projects that you remember that were like, yeah, this is what I want to do for my career?
Yeah, I mean, being in that inaugural class of advertising design, we got really close really fast, and
Mhm.
we were in every class together basically, and so I can't quite pinpoint like an exact name of a course, but I can say those experiences really shaped me into thinking and learning and understanding some of the greats and how some of the early advertisements really started to shape how we, I guess, influence shopping behavior. But
Mhm.
then once we started moving into like practical hands-on work, when we're pitching with actual clients, I remember there were some really amazing opportunities that came through the Business of Art and Design program
Mhm.
through Wanda Chavez, where she was bringing folks from Etsy or bringing folks from Cirque du Soleil, where we were actually able to craft entire campaigns and pitch them directly to the client. And that's what really got me excited about what this could be because it was really storytelling. When you tell that story through emotion and passion,
Mhm.
you're really selling an idea across that can really change the course of a whole business, perhaps, or even just a buyer decision when they're standing in the aisle.
That was a while ago, he mentioned, 2012,
Hmm.
and certainly the world has changed a lot in terms of like technology and education, and yeah, right at the moment, AI is kind of disrupting everything, including
Totally.
education. So, from your vantage point, what are some key things that you think education or advertising education should be communicating to students so they're prepared when they get out?
I would say really leveraging not only, I guess, like your fundamental thought process, but really becoming a curator of culture and lived experiences. I remember all throughout college, everyone was talking about, oh, like great art is through lived experiences. And I didn't really understand that until leaving college, essentially, where I could start to explore the world and the world around me and dive into different pockets that interest me. And it's really through having a larger worldview that I can tell better stories that resonate with a variety of different people. And so you mentioned AI, I think there's a lot of talk about it taking jobs and things like that. And we can have a whole segment just on AI and
Yeah.
how we're approaching it. But I do think like, being able to curate the AI is also a power in itself and being able to have that lived experience to then pick it apart to understand the end goal that you want to get to is really important. And I would say with AI, we're losing a lot of critical thinking skills because it's thinking for us. And so I would encourage people to continue to sharpen those critical thinking skills to understand how you want to get to the end result.
I remember at some point in the past few years, like really noticing what you were posting and commenting and sort of responding to on
Mhm.
LinkedIn in terms of like Web3. Can you talk about like the
Yeah,
Web3 component?
definitely. Web3 for me has been an interesting, avenue. I think we saw it kind of explode with crypto and NFTs and even into the metaverse. And so it was a timely situation for me because that was around COVID when all of that really started to take off. And we had already been in the works on producing a gluten-free, grain-free vodka. And so we were nearing the end. We had already placed all of our bottle orders. We had already crafted the recipe. We had them on the truck, and like the world essentially shut down. And so we were kind of faced with, okay, how do we possibly start to go to market when the entire market is shut down? Which is, for those that don't know, in the liquor industry, there's a three-tier system where you work with distributors and you work with the end client, which would be the liquor store or the restaurant or bar. And so all of those pipelines kind of disappeared overnight. And so
Mhm.
we were like sitting on a bunch of inventory trying to figure out what we wanted to do with it. And thanks to my video gaming background experience and actually a really clutch connection that I'd made at Ringling, I had been exploring the metaverse with my friend Matt Sullivan, and then Clark Nordhauser had been really on the cutting edge of VR even back at Ringling, essentially. And so
Mhm.
they both kind of introduced me to the world of metaverse. And so once I started looking at that, I really saw it as a vehicle to really kind of create a virtual space where we could market and advertise to essentially web traffic into a three-dimensional web, essentially. And so we could create our own bar, we could create our own restaurant inside of these metaverse experiences, and then really create culture and stand up, a community that would be engaged with our product. And so we decided to move forward with that. And then at the same time, we launched an NFT that then came with a voucher to redeem cases of vodka. And so that kind of really started to be a different business model that no one had ever really considered in the liquor space. And, we had a really cool opportunity to get on the front page of Wall Street Journal and be
Right.
written up in Forbes and a lot of this that was really exciting. It was like kind of like riding lightning at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And There's just a lot of learnings that came out of that. As we all know, crypto eventually kind of imploded and started NFTs and metaverse. But it was a really cool way to launch the brand. And I would say a lot of that DNA still within the brand as a digital forward vodka brand, which a lot of them don't start that way. And
Yeah.
big shout out to my wife Emily, who is kind of leading the vodka brand for our family and standing that up with her good friend Kim. So it
Yeah.
definitely takes a village, but it was cool to use some of my technological skills to help shape that.
That's a good transition into. So this is the website for
Yeah,
Wisher. So, um, just full disclosure, I don't eat beets. It tastes like earth. But what does the
sure.
vodka taste like? Is it like,
Yeah,
is
so
there
it's
an essence of earth of beets?
No, there's not an essence of earth. You're not, doesn't taste like dirt.
Good, good.
It is and it's also clear. A lot of people ask us
Oh
if it
yeah.
comes out red.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we basically distill it from white sugar beets.
Oh.
And we use the sugar to then be the organic ingredient that is distilled that is mixed with some yeast that basically creates the end product. We actually find that it has like a sweeter finish to it,
Oh, okay.
slightly. I mean, the thing with perfect vodka is supposed to be odorless and tasteless. And so
Oh,
really another opportunity here we saw is it's really an exercise in marketing because you're really
yeah,
selling,
yeah,
an odorless, tasteless liquid. But
right.
that being said, we
Yeah,
have picked up a few awards for the
yeah.
taste. The Bartender Spirits Award named us Vodka Producer of the Year, and we did win Grand Vodka as well as gold in the category as well. So
That's
um,
awesome.
yeah, it's kind of taking off in a good way. And we started selling on the metaverse and shipping to 48 states, but we're basing a lot of our sales out of Baltimore, Florida, and then now we just opened up Chicago.
So it's so fascinating. I mean, I do remember seeing Emily post and things like, okay, it's vodka, but it's in the metaverse. And then there's the whole joke, right? Like people always comment, it's like, well, can you get virtually drunk
Hmm.
on like how do you drink virtual vodka? Yeah, but it's really about the marketing and like you said, like building the community in this virtual space and kind of
Yeah, just
building
throwing
the
a party.
conversation. Yeah, just throwing
Yeah.
a party and yeah, totally innovative. Can you talk about the Jose Cuervo?
So when we entered the metaverse, we were pretty much like one of the first businesses trying to like do anything in this particular metaverse. For those listeners that are familiar with the metaverse, we started our campaign into the metaverse inside of Decentraland, which is a place where you can buy virtual land and
Okay.
sell it on a marketplace. And we started just throwing events. And so once this started to take off, a lot of brands were starting to look at Decentraland in particular as a marketing vehicle too. They did Metaverse Fashion Week, brands like Gucci and Dolce & Gabbana, like all started to create little virtual fashion shows. And eventually, Jose Cuervo decided to write a press release saying they're going to be the first distillery in the metaverse. And so we launched a counter campaign that said, "No way, Jose." And so we had the entire virtual community kind of banded together, kind of. Letting Jose know that they weren't the first, and it was a fun little campaign. We had a digital billboard truck drive around their headquarters with the "No Way Jose" language on it. But once they did fully enter the space, and Absolute Vodka also entered the space. We had like a welcome party, and we
Yeah.
had a portal that opened up from our space to Absolute space to kind of like share the love. And it was just a fun opportunity to ride alongside some of the giants in the space.
The other company, M and Me.
Yeah.
So, and this is the party uh, dog company, right? Is that, or is it
Party, pets, and
party
plants.
pets? Party
Yeah.
pets and what?
Plants.
And
Yeah.
plants. I remember seeing this, and then I went in this store, this local store, and on the shelf they had, all the like party favorite party things, and I was like, wait, this is M. And it's like it was cool to just kind of see this project that you worked on like in my local community. Totally fun to experience that. So how did this start?
Yeah, so Emily and I met at Ringling. She's a graphic designer by trade. And, we had always wanted to collaborate on a bigger scale. And so early on, I remember experimenting with this, and we would make little like Christmas cards for our friends and families with like the M and Me logo on it. And we always wanted to explore product design. And so, oh, you know what it was? We for our wedding, we wanted to produce our own custom invitations. And so Emily remembered at Ringling that we had access to a laser cutter. And so she had had some experience with that, and she wanted to laser cut wedding invitations. And so we looked online just to see like if we could find one, and there was a new Kickstarter a project that started up that basically it was selling laser cutters, and so we decided to take the risk and buy one and give it a go. And then once we made that big purchase, we were like, well, what else can we do with this thing? And so
Yeah.
we started making some stir sticks, and we sold them on Etsy. So we started there, and then as we saw like seasonally, we would get a sale here and there, and then we decided let's make stir sticks for every season. And so that's kind of what started, like, I guess, some supplemental income for us.
Right.
And then we were really starting to like learn the ways of e-commerce through that. But it wasn't until we got our dog right before COVID, and then everyone else got a dog during COVID, that the business really took off because
Yeah.
we had designed a little pet tag for our dog Pixel. And we were like, hey, well, what if we try and sell this on Etsy too? And then it just kind of exploded from there. And so the pet tags have definitely been a big part of the business, and it's really exciting because we get a lot of dog photos and from reviews sent to us every day, and that
Yeah.
really makes Emily's day to kind of receive those photos. And we have a lot of fun with this business and brand. And so Emily is focused on this full time now, and she does this in the vodka brand. And so
Cool.
we have a couple employees that work with us on this, and one of them's actually from Ringling,
Oh yeah,
as well.
great.
Yeah. So.
See, there you go. Perfect example of, the networking within your school community, right?
Yeah,
You
you
never know
never
what you
know.
might work on after school. What kind of dog do you have?
He's a
The
Yorkie poodle, a
a
Yorkie
Yorkie?
poo, or I guess you could call it a Porky. It just kind of depends which way you want to say it.
That's fun. So cool. Okay, so let's talk about your other like your day job. So
Sure.
Motorola in the North Pole. That just sounds so fascinating to me.
Yeah, so when I first joined Motorola, I was kind of asked, what are some of the white spaces that, my role could like start to explore. And I really felt like partnership marketing and collab marketing is kind of like a sweet spot right now. Obviously, it's all the rage now, but when I first started, it was kind of in the early days. And so when got there, I started looking at all the different partnerships that Motorola has, and they actually have a lot. I mean, they sponsor Formula One. They now sponsor FIFA World Cup, which I'll be working on as well. They have a bunch of like cool lifestyle partners, as well as a bunch of technology partners. And so one of those partners is Corning Gorilla Glass, and so that's the glass that goes on top of the phone that makes it very scratch proof. And so I was introduced to them because they had a Corning engineer that happened to be a photographer that just wanted a phone to go take a vacation with. And so I was like, well, hold on, why don't we try and do something bigger with this opportunity? And so we decided to send a crew all the way up to the North Pole with him on his vacation to capture the experience and really tell the story of durability through the lens of this Corning Gorilla Glass engineer in the North Pole. And it turned out to be a really amazing campaign. It was a full content pack, which would be basically long form, short forms, statics, and carousels that all kind of bundle up into a large campaign. And so the campaign was called Testing the Limits North Pole Expedition. And it was a lot of fun to see that come to life. And it's something like once in a lifetime opportunity to like, have a campaign around the North Pole in your portfolio.
Yeah. So I think probably when I started seeing a lot of your work, you were at Walgreens. Is
Hmm.
that right?
Yeah.
Is there what was your
So
involvement at
yeah, Walgreens
Walgreens?
was an interesting journey as well. I was there about 10 years actually. When I first joined, I joined as like one of the first people that was assigned social media 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they, at the time, didn't really know they were doing with social media. They just used it as like a dumping ground to put a bunch of different random content. And so I was kind of brought in to like help bring that vertical to life. And so after 10 years, there's so many people to thank and just like who was involved with this. But when I first started, it was just me and my coworker Laura, my work wife, and we really just started to figure out what our skills could do together. Before Walgreens, I was at Express, which is a fashion company, and I really
Mhm.
learned about the power of photography and like how that can impact your brand. And Walgreens, obviously, just being a drugstore, convenience store, didn't have a lot of built up equity in branded photography. And so this was an area I saw that was ripe for opportunity to really establish like what they look like with photography instead of just using like a Shutterstock account or something to
Mhm.
produce all of your assets. And so my coworker Laura, she came from the beauty space. And so we decided the beauty vertical would be a good place for us to combine our skills in fashion and beauty to then create the social media presence that it is today, essentially. And so it was a long journey of just standing up all the capabilities from proving social media needs to exist to what even is content to,
Right.
hey, we need to now shoot content to even building out a multi-million-dollar studio space in the heart of downtown Chicago, which was all a part of that journey. So it was kind of a soup to nuts experience of really standing up a whole creative department over the course of 10 years with a lot of great coworkers along the way that I learned a lot from, and we all had a great time collaborating with.
Yeah, it's such a great story and a point that I wonder if you could speak a little bit more to that. Like it sounds like how you're talking about this experience is that you as a creative, as the designer, like you had a seat at the table. It's like the expression, right? You were communicating and teaching other people, other non-creatives, like the value of this creative work.
Yeah, I mean, that was a large part of the early on years at Walgreens. I mean, if you think about Walgreens, it's not built around creativity. It makes its money off of selling drugs, and pharmaceuticals. And so
Right,
any business that the core business is not creatively led, you're gonna be swimming upstream, right?
right.
You're gonna be having to convince people that creativity and creative is a necessary profit driver and also, brand builder essentially.
Mhm.
And so, especially the fact that Walgreens is a 100-plus-year-old company, there was a lot of like archaic thinking that you really had to turn around and try and convince people that this is worth doing and it's worth funding and it's worth resourcing against. And so, yeah, it was a lot of PowerPoint decks, a lot of communicating, a lot of teaching people what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Walgreens thankfully had a very large creative team by the time I had left. But a fun journey and a lot of opportunity was given to really explore my talents and help elevate me as a creative. So I have a lot to
Cool.
thank for that journey.
Such great work. Must be exciting to work on that scale of a project. I mean, is that overwhelming at times? How do you manage all of, like the production and the organization of those big projects?
Yeah, so I mean, I really owe it a lot of this to my time at Walgreens because
Mhm.
I did start working with them so early on. I really wore every hat in a production from being able to be the photographer myself to being a prop stylist at times to being the talent coordinator at times to even booking the venues. I mean, we were doing some really scrappy shoots early on at Walgreens and like trying to pay talent with like gift cards and things like that that we got our
Yeah.
hands slapped with. But like, really going through the motions of like learning every role on set really helped me get to a point where I do feel very comfortable on these like multi-million-dollar shoots and productions because, I understand, the type of feedback that I would want to hear if I were in that role. The best thing that I've learned, at least being on the client side of the productions, is really a lot of the heavy lifting comes on the upfront. It's about
Mhm.
putting the idea together, selling it through, getting the funding, getting the budget, getting all the props in place, all the products that you're going to need, and
Yeah.
then really hiring the right team and putting the right players on the field
Mhm.
and collaborating with them and not stifling them because they have
Right.
years of experience doing their specific job. And so the more you can elevate that and make the vibe on set be as creative and playful as possible, the better the work's going to be. If you try and
Mhm.
approach it where you're just trying to shut down ideas and be over controlling, like you're not going to get very far. And I think that's just like a good rule of business and life in general is like really respecting other people's talents and then letting them flourish.
Yeah, absolutely. So, can you talk about like what your, I mean, it's probably not an average day, but what are some things that you do throughout like a week? Like what do you do? Are you like in spreadsheets all day long? Are you like on the phone? I mean, you're at your level, like are you still doing like hands-on design work? Like what kind of things are you doing on a regular basis?
Yeah, I feel like I yearn for getting my hands dirty now that I've kind of crossed that barrier where I don't get to have my hands in the design tools as often because sometimes, you get to some good ideas from that. But yeah, a day in the life can range from anything from, just like a lot of brainstorming and looking for opportunities, to utilizing different tools to help me like get enough of the idea to a presentable format where, I could be using more traditional skills like storyboarding, or I could be using AI to help assist me to like get the gist across. Then it's a matter of selling the ideas through and then securing the funding, but then also, tracking down whatever the project needs too. Like right now, I'm trying to make a, crystal violin for an upcoming project, which is really random, but like I have to figure out how to source that. So I'm working with various agencies to like make that a reality. In my previous project I worked on, we just had a launch for Motorola where we launched all a bunch of devices at one time. And so I was coordinating 22 different influencers across, 12 different regions and countries, trying to deliver a mystery box that they would have to create content, and which I had to go shoot what I wanted that content to look like. So I had to pretend I was an influencer to like stage what I wanted the influencers to do with this mystery box. So
Oh,
it's never a dull moment. There's always something different going on, but it's interesting because it's usually something that me or my team has concepted that we're really believing in and that we're really trying to chase down. And it's through the process that I think a lot of the fun is had is just like making that end result a reality. I feel like once I'm actually on set, I get to like kind of take a breath because like
yeah.
all of the hard work is done. And then we get to move into like post production and then it's on to the next one. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a gist, I guess, of what it could look like.
One of the other things that a lot of students are focused on, like getting the job, right? Right out of
Yeah.
school. And so
Yeah.
what was your process like for getting your first job out of school? Was it an internship that led to that or how did that happen for you?
Yeah. Good questions. So I was one of those people in college. I was like, man, like I I thought I was working hard enough. I thought I was doing all the right things. But I was also the guy just like running around in a Quidditch field. So it depends on who you ask, really, right? But uh my experience was kind of non-traditional in a sense, or probably more traditional than we think. But I think at Ringling specifically, they have a bunch of different tracks for you to go and land certain opportunities. There's certain companies they have good partnerships with that put you on different tracks and you can get internships and then those turn into jobs. That happened with my wife Emily. She got the Abercrombie internship and that turned into a full-time job for her. I wasn't so lucky in that case. I was kind of a little all over the place and I
Yeah.
feel like I definitely had an ego back then for sure. If you ask anyone, they'd probably agree. But I ended up graduating without a job. So I moved back in with my folks and just started working at a small little agency in Dallas. And so I really have to thank my wife for this astute motivation, but she pretty much said, "Hey, what are we doing? I'm in Ohio, you're in Dallas. Are we like still dating? Like what's happening here?" And so she pretty much like put an ultimatum and was like, "All right, well, either you move up here or like I gotta move on in my life." And I was like,
Uh-oh.
okay, yeah, so little failure to launch moment, but ultimately decided, okay, let's do this. So moved up to Ohio, and she was like, "I'm gonna give you like 2 months to like start paying rent. Otherwise, you're hitting the streets." And so I remember reaching out to a copywriter teacher that I met at Ringling, and he had a contact that decided to take a shot on me at a small agency in Ohio. And I was just doing some contract work for them and cutting my teeth on like McDonald's billboards or something like that,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
farming those out.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was working out at a gym that happened to be located next to Express's headquarters, and it was just through networking. I got in touch with somebody who was like, "Hey, you should like, meet my husband," and then he liked what he saw and decided to like vouch for me essentially. So I do think that there's a nice mix to like finding the right network to then help kind of position you in the right place.
Mhm.
But then also I think, nowadays traditional applying places is getting harder and harder with AI tools, right? Like you've got companies using AI to filter out resumes. Now you've got individuals using AI to mass apply to places. So it's really just robots talking to robots. And so
Right.
that's why I feel like networking, unfortunately, is like the path to success because you're connecting with
Yeah.
like a real human that can understand your story and like
Right.
kind of look at your work and, see if there's an opportunity for you. And so
Yeah.
I strongly recommend students to like start leveraging the alumni networks too. I've had a lot
Mhm.
of recent students reach out to me now that I'm in Chicago, and I try and meet up with them as many of them as I can, just to like hear their story and see
Yeah.
if there's connections that can be made. Because that's,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we got to help each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think, also the lesson of go to the gym, right? I don't know.
Definitely go to the gym, and you never know, you might also get some gains in your career and your
Exactly.
muscles. Yeah.
And your muscles. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of I mean, this advice comes from my advertising side, but also the vodka business, and that, at the end of the day, we're all selling something. Even in your first conversations with somebody, you're selling something. And so I know a lot of people don't want to be a sellout or things like that, but you know, first impressions are a lot. And like, even if it's subconscious, you're selling yourself, you're selling your ideas, you're selling your career, your resume. And so, through the vodka business, we've kind of learned to go for the no because,
Mhm.
you knock on 100 doors, you might get three yeses,
Yeah.
but
Right.
like the more you knock on those doors, the more opportunity starts to come. And I will say too, like, when you do land the interview, lean into it for all it is. I mean, like you're wearing a blazer right now, and that's a good rule of thumb I tell to a lot of folks that are interviewing is like, yeah, just put the blazer on. Like it's not gonna hurt you. I mean, even as a creative, it's like, I don't want to like dress up or like I
Yeah.
need to look cool, but it's like it also shows initiative and it shows like you care
Yeah.
and like you made an effort and like
Right.
that goes a long way even subconsciously to really kind of help you land the job, because you never know
Yeah.
who you're up against, in those interviews.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the staple of all creatives in whatever creative field you are is just the black blazer. Like everybody should have a black blazer. I mean, you don't need a collared shirt or tie. Just as long as you have the
Yeah,
black blazer, you got the uniform, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Or sharp, just look sharp, I think
yeah,
is a good rule of thumb too.
yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
think the tie is overkill, but
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
haven't worn. I got rid of all my ties years ago.
So I just celebrated a birthday about 3 days ago,
Happy
and
birthday!
it was unique because I'm also it's my first birthday as a father, and
Oh,
so I had a conversation with Emily about like, hey, like, what is this? What do birthdays look like as a dad now? Do I just like get a tie every year?
yeah,
Like, and,
exactly.
and so
Ugly
now I'm
ties.
like, yeah, I tried to remind her like ties aren't like a thing anymore,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
No, you don't need that. The other things that I sort of always curious about after not talking to alumni for so long is like, what do you do when you're not working? Like you're out there in
Mm,
Chicago. Chicago is one of my favorite cities. That is such a
yeah.
cool design city, like the architecture and just the design and art. But do you get out, you experience Chicago in a relaxing way?
Good questions. Well, with the baby, it's made it a lot harder to
Yeah,
get out there. But
sure.
for now, yeah, I mean, you just have a good group of friends that are always got something else to do. Living in Chicago, like there's just countless things to
Yeah.
to go out and explore, and tons of great restaurants around here as
Mhm.
well. But yeah,
Are you a foodie?
I'm a foodie of sorts. I've started cooking a lot more.
Oh,
I'm
good.
really into bread right now.
Oh, you got your own
I know,
starter dough?
yeah, everyone was really big into it in COVID. I guess I was a little delayed on this, but
Yeah.
yeah, something about I think I've unlocked a key to life here. So
Uh-oh. What is
hopefully
it?
listeners would agree with this. But I found that like whenever I'm struggling with one aspect of my life, the best advice I've heard is just go master something else in a different part of your life and
Yeah.
you'll feel much better and it becomes a smaller problem to deal with. And so yeah, having a baby for the first time, there's a lot of unknowns. I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was doing. I was struggling a lot of just like, I don't know, this is
Nobody
crazy.
does.
Yeah, so I decided to take up bread making, and I feel like I'm quite masterful now at the sourdough loaf, and I've started doing other things like English muffins and whatnot.
Mhm.
So really exploring different hobbies is
Yeah.
key. Also, still into gaming. Do a lot of
Yeah.
video gaming with my guys from all over the country. It's a good
Mhm.
way for us to stay connected and just catch up on life and, just kind of talk about the world around us. It's like
Yeah.
a big part of how I unwind and, turn off
Yeah.
the brain a little bit. So,
Yeah. You got to do it once in a while. All right,
yeah.
but now I'm going to make you turn on the brain because it's time for the pop quiz as we wrap up.
All right.
Favorite work beverage? What are you
Mm.
drinking while you're just, during the day? Yeah.
I'm really big into like making my own lattes. I make a
Oh,
good lavender latte,
oh, fancy.
or flavor cappuccinos. But honestly, doing a lot of perfectly mint tea as well. That helps me get through the workday. It's a black tea. Been jamming on some London fogs too in the winter months in Chicago. So yeah, those are
Okay.
my get through the workday. And then
Yeah.
at 5 o'clock, I switch over to like an amaretto Sprite. So
Oh, okay.
go a little bit
All
more on
right.
the cocktail side. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. It sounds like you don't do much hands-on design work, but if you were to pick up a sketchbook or use a sketchbook, would it be blank or
Mhm.
gridded?
Mine would be blank because I do like to do some collage work too. That's kind of
Oh,
a habit I picked up with the BOED major. We were trying to kind of keep crafting our stories throughout the week with collage and a bunch of different tactics. So yeah, I would have to go blank on that.
all right. Type or image?
Mm. I mean, that's like asking like Mozart what his favorite song is, because you need both, in my opinion. But there's something about I have to go with image. Yeah,
Image.
just
Yeah.
coming up through the content world and the
Yeah.
photography world. I really do love a crispy image.
All right. Favorite Quidditch position to play?
Oh gosh, you don't ask that one to everybody, do you? Um,
No, I do not. Some are
uh,
tailored to the guest.
Yeah, probably keeper for me because I'm a bigger guy.
Okay.
And it's easier for me to stay at the hoops.
Got
Yeah.
it. If you listen to music while you're working, what genre of music you listen to?
Oh gosh, I am all over right now with
Mm,
my tunes. I'm into like a lot of 90s hip hop right now. I'm
mm,
also doing like a ton of like classical and Baroque and neoclassical music because I'm kind of working with a violinist that's coming up. Coming out of my recent Greece trip, I've been really into like house music, like good like summer rooftop vibes has been really good. And then I have been building like a global playlist too, listening to a lot of like Rosalia, C. Tangana out of Madrid, and then just like stuff that's more European, probably with like Riri or Sophie Tucker, which kind of came from Brazil a little bit too. So yeah, kind of
mm.
all over, as you can
Depends
see.
on where you're traveling, sounds like.
Yeah, I really use music to like help me get into a mindset and really like live that experience and like fully immerse it, and
Mhm.
then just kind of like bounce around to a bunch of different genres because once again, I think it's about expanding like that worldview.
Go-to spot to get an authentic Chicago dog.
It's a good question because I do love a good Chicago dog, but I don't get them as frequently as you would think living as a local native here.
Yeah.
But I do get them every time I go to the Cubs game. And yeah, it's usually Vienna beef. You got to
Mm.
do it that way. So That'd be
So
my
at the
answer.
stadium. You mentioned the Cubs. So White Sox or Cubs?
Yeah, Cubs. But to
Cubs.
be honest, probably Texas Rangers. Coming from Texas. But my wife's gotten me into the Brewers too. She's from Milwaukee. I do
Oh,
like a good
okay.
Brewers game.
All right. All right. Last question in the quiz is if you weren't a designer, what would you be? Don't say architect.
A crosswalk person.
A crosswalk person. That sounds
Yeah.
relaxing, I think.
A
It could
crossing
be
guard is the name.
crossing
Yeah.
guard.
I do have a desire at some point to like change careers and like maybe when I'm retired I aim a crossing guard or
Yeah.
something.
Crossing
Yeah.
guard, you could volunteer for that now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I just gotta like, block my calendar at 3 p.m. to like have a
Ex-
working meeting to go do
exactly.
crossing guard duties.
Okay, final thoughts for aspiring designers. Your words of wisdom.
Mm. I would say my advice is you know, money can't buy taste, right? As they say. And I think the more you kind of craft your design eye and like live into yourself as an artist, there's going to be opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And, whether it's curating it through AI or making it from your hands yourself, I think like just keep chasing the design eye and the critical thinking. And that would be where you want to focus most of your time, I would say.
All right. Yeah, sounds great. Absolutely. It sounds like you've done that and all
Oh,
that experience.
thanks.
Yeah, a lot of great work. Such a great experience. I'm glad we got to chat and hear about like what you've been doing. I've been seeing it for a while now, for years, like what you've been doing, and just so great to catch up with you.
Yeah, I had no clue I had quite the reach or a stalker, but I appreciate you following my journey, Chris. And likewise, I've enjoyed listening to your podcasts from some of my classmates even and
Yeah,
hearing them come on and tell their stories. And I'm so honored that you brought me on to have a nice conversation today, catch up and just learn a little bit of a different type of a career path.
yeah, yeah. It was great to talk to you. Thanks so much, and congrats on the new addition to the family. And let Emily know I'm going to be hitting her up to be a guest on the podcast at some point in the
Oh,
future.
yeah, she would love that for sure.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Bye.
I know you've been crying, dog. I know you've been crying, dog. I know you've been crying, dog.
So, what did we learn from Alex? Tell stories with emotion, have a worldview, and hire the right people and let them flourish. Thanks to Alex Thierry of Motorola. If you have any comments or questions for me or any of my guests, please leave them in the comments. And subscribe so you can catch the next episode of Design Futures. Until next time, go learn something. Your future depends on it. Thanks for listening. See ya.